Hello! It's time for the Friday tea. And today I'm going to have my dear friend Beth joining me. Oh, and Walter making some noises in the background. So here she is. Let's get her all joined. Yep. Coming on now. Let me let Walter out while we're waiting for her to be. Come on. Move it. Outside. Hello!
Hi.
How are ya?
Good. I'm glad I figured everything out.
Yeah, we got it slowly but surely.
Yep.
So long time no see.
We see so much of each other nowadays.
Yeah, Beth and I've shared a little bit about this in my stories, but Beth and I have been meeting with each other every morning to do like mindset work and really to just like create a container of like community and sisterhood. And we both have businesses, and so being able to support each other in that way has been, super impactful for me. I like to think it's not one-sided.
Not at all. Finding like our work is so isolating. Like we work with clients, but that's work, right? We're helping our clients. We never have space to just like be with other people that have the same intentions and goals and values. And it's just like having somebody in the office next door that you can like yell to the wall through. It's awesome.
Yeah, it really is too, especially like, I don't know, it's been, COVID's been isolating, and like running your own business is sort of isolating. And while that has its like perks, obviously, it can be like lonely at times. And I think, shit gets really weird inside of my head when I spend too much time alone. And it's really nice to have, it's been really beautiful for me to have a space to just share the things that are going on, because I don't know about you, but I even shared this with you. There was a question I wanted to ask you a few days ago, but didn't, because there was some fear around that. But like, how many times that happens where we experience like shame or fear around some internal dialogue that's happening, and we just bottle it up and don't express it. And like having the space to do that, it plugs up all these like energy leaks, so that you can just have more focus and presence throughout the day and not be like bogged down by all this like extra noise, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And I know like today I asked you to look at an email that I wrote, and you were such a huge help, huge help with it. So it's not only for me about like blocking up these energy drains where we're just losing it and letting it out, but like that for me this morning was like rolling out
Mm-hmm.
it was like rolling out the path for me to be on for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And knowing that I'm not on that path alone.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Community is everything.
Right.
Yeah.
As coaches, we give.
Mm-hmm.
This type of thing, we get to give and get.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Send it to everybody out there that has anybody that they really click with, the way you and I did many months ago when we were put in a breakout room together,
Mm-hmm.
randomly. Yeah.
I love how these things work.
The universe is a crazy place.
I think that, even just like reflecting now on this, it's like even more important to know. Like, I know I'm connected with a lot of coaches on here, and I was actually just doing a podcast, like talking about this. Like, everybody needs support. There's not like a level at which we stop needing support and like shit just stops coming up for us and we're like good. There's always a level of maintenance, and like having this space with each other is just been really nice for me.
Yeah. Well, even when you're an expert in your field,
Mm-hmm.
you're a human being, right?
Yeah.
Same human being stuff that everybody else has.
Yeah.
And we have tools for some of it that we share with our clients, but we don't have tools for all of it. I mean, we still need to work on our own stuff also, and have, like you said, just have a container where it's to let it be. Yeah, I think it's been very mutually beneficial.
I feel special. Well, I would love to, since you're new to my page, I would love for you to share like a little bit about what you do and what your work looks like.
Okay, thanks for that chance. So, I am a licensed professional counselor, and I'm also a transformational coach. And as a therapist, I was always, well, I was a coach quite a while ago, and I found that my coaching clients needed more.
Mm.
That was outside of my scope of knowledge. So I went back to school and got my master's degree in counseling and opened up a private practice. And after 10 years, I wrote a book, and the book, it became clear to me that there was a coaching program in it. And so I created the coaching program. And so now I'm both a therapist and a coach. Sometimes they get combined, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they stay very separate. And I love working with other coaches, business owners, and individuals that where something's holding them back from really growing their business, taking it to the next step, or something's holding a woman back from being bold and starting the next stage of her life, not
Mm-hmm.
what that's going to look like, breaking through all the fears that go around it, that block her, the unworthiness, the here's the biggest one, and no matter what issue you give me, I'm going to tell you that it ultimately comes down to caring about what other people think about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you peel the layers off of every single um, off of one issue, and you go layer to layer to layer, and you finally, at the core, it is always fear of what other people are going to think about you that stops you in your tracks. So I love helping people shift, make
Mm-hmm.
quick shifts, break through old stuff, and then we're all about moving forward, creating more success, creating more peace. Yeah. And I get my energy from working with the clients and seeing their,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And you know what the work looks like. I mean, it's scary to start over, however many multiple times we get to do that in our lives. And yeah, having support through that, I think, is just invaluable.
For sure. I couldn't have gotten where I am today without my coaches, but
Mm-hmm.
both for my therapy practice. At the beginning, I worked with a coach who only coached solo practitioners, therapists,
Mm-hmm.
all she worked with. And that was very helpful in getting my practice off the ground. Most people don't graduate. I didn't graduate with my master's till I was 50. Most people don't get
Mm-hmm.
a master's and go right out on their own. They work at an agency or something for years, right, through their supervision. But I was already 50, and I wasn't going to go back to having a boss and
Yep.
for years to have my own practice. So I just kind of went for it. Um, and then in the coaching arena, I've had a couple of coaches, and that's how you and I met, was through a coach you and I are both using. And they help us like very specifically learn how to, do things that will help us grow our business. Um, but, I think I've shared with you before, like in school, the main mantra is good therapists do their own work.
Mm-hmm.
I think that stands true for coaches too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that you can help people through the work if you haven't already done a lot of it yourself and you're not continually doing it. I think I come like every week to my clients with like, holy shit, guess what I learned about, about myself, about the way we relate, about life this past
Mhm.
week. I think it's like it's just a beautiful part of the process, and getting to share that vulnerably with our clients, and that we are imperfect, right? And that it is like continual learning, I think is really important to pull us out of like guru status where we're just like, need to know everything.
Right.
Yes.
Well, you really helped me with that Monday morning when we met, because I go live every Monday at 4 o'clock, and I had back injury that, had me in ridiculous amounts of pain and ridiculous amounts of pain meds. And I was telling you, like, I don't know what to do, because
Mm,
I need to be there. I told them I'd be there, and my word's everything. So I need to be there, but I don't think I can, like, there won't be much of me to give by 4 o'clock this afternoon. And what you said was like kind of so obvious, but it would have never crossed my mind, was to record it in advance and then just post it at 4. And it gave me the opportunity to say, like, hey, you guys, this live is pre-recorded and here's why. And I think it's important to get in front of you and show that not being perfect is okay.
yeah.
Being vulnerable is okay. Letting people, I'm all about authenticity, right? My company is called the Authenticity Academy. I believe we can't thrive if we're not being authentic, either in personal or business, right? Lives. And you were like, just go out there and be you. And I was like, oh yeah,
I get to do that.
I do. I don't just like teach it and preach it. I can do that too. So, and I got some good feedback on it, just
That's great.
being there and being vulnerable.
Yeah. I mean, vulnerability is like my cornerstone of like, if it's on my mind, I feel maybe to a fault compelled to share it. Um, because I feel like so oftentimes our internal worlds are really isolating, and we have these ideas about what's right to think and what's wrong to think and how we should be, and getting being an exemplar of just like, this is what's happening within me. And like, two, every time I do that, so you were saying like the core of the root of so many of these issues that people have is like caring what other people think. And for me, every time I share something vulnerable, it is like implicitly saying to myself, and I love you still, and you are still worthy of love. And doing that over and over again is just like cultivating this like gorgeous cycle of self-trust and self-love and self-worth. And yeah, I mean, it is how it is like the nectar of life. I believe that that's like where we're all angling towards. It's like, how can I be me in my truest form and still be like, accepted and loved? I think that's like, that's life's quest.
Well, so I would answer that question with a question: and accepted and loved by whom?
Right. So that's that, like, by yourself, by your family, your friends, your community. And what does that look like? I mean, I think we have at first, like, all love comes from self-love. So if you're not loving and accepting yourself for who you are, then you can't expect others to do that either. But I think that there's a fear, because we're told like what's acceptable and not acceptable by society, that they're like, that I can't be certain ways. And if I am, and if people only knew, then there's no way that they would love me. And so I think that's the fear. I don't think it's the reality, right? It's like when we are in our most authentic expression, we are attracting people who can hold space for that and who love us for that, knowing good and well that like we're not for everybody. And
Right.
like we build in through this process, we build in this like, oh, well, that's okay. We build in resiliency to not being for everybody and still knowing that we're loved. But like, I think that's the question, is like, at least that I'm finding in my clients, is like, well, if I do this, people won't like me. If I start speaking my mind instead of being polite, people will not want to hang out with me anymore. So it's like, all of these things, it's like, the more I step into my authenticity, I feel like I'm bucking these norms that are seeming to give me some security in community. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I think that it's all about, it has to come back to, radical self acceptance, right? And the fact that, you know, I've said for years and years, like as a therapist, even, some people love me, some people hate me. And I'm okay with that because I know the people that I work with that we are synchronistic, that they make leaps and bounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really help them really get momentum and feel differently quickly, right? So for all those other people who aren't my people, they're going to find somebody else who's going to really help them. I don't take that personally. And for the people who say, but what if I start being me? And what I'm hearing from that is, if I'm angry and I yell at somebody because authentically that's where I'm at, then they may not like me. Well, true.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, we still have to be, I always tell my clients that at the end of every day, you need to be able to look in the mirror and ask yourself, did I live in alignment today with who I'm truly meant to be?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I get really mad at somebody and I'm snarky and, you know, I'm not, that's not presenting myself as who I want to be, right? As who I feel I am as at an authentic soul level. So at the end of that day, I'm going to say, yeah, I really wasn't, I need to work on that when I get angry.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I also know that then I'm going to figure out in my head, how could I have done that differently that
Right.
would have been in alignment with me? Right. And it doesn't mean everybody's going to like you at the end, but you're going to like you at the end of the day. Right.
Yeah.
And you do lose people along the way when transformation happens because you're no longer faking it to fit in.
Yeah.
You know, so if I really believe that if the end of the day you're saying I lived in alignment and you lose somebody, that, I don't know why I'm playing with this, that somebody didn't belong there anymore.
Yeah. I think that's hard, right?
Yeah,
Because like we are hardwired for connection, for community, and being without that is like, I think is really terrifying. And like there are also all these stories. It's like, well, if they don't like me, then it's like I'm not worthy, and like all. So it's there's so much work that has to go into standing firmly in this. Like, if I am in my authentic expression and they reject me, I'm still good. Like, how do you get to that spot?
right. I think you just go back to, like, not everybody is for everybody.
Yeah.
And losing one person that I am not aligned with gives room to bring in more new people that we are aligned with, right? And I think that happens so organically, you know, like look at us. And we're in a coaching group with like 5 other strong female entrepreneurs, right? All coaches of something, right? And we have bonded super quickly and I would say pretty tightly,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we know that these people accept us for who we are for real,
Yep.
right? We don't have to put on anything, be anything but authentic, and we're accepted there. So it is scary to let go of a relationship, not knowing if there's something to replace it,
Mm-hmm.
but something will replace it, and it'll be somewhere where you're unconditionally accepted for who you authentically are. And the relationship that you were no longer part of, you weren't unconditionally accepted for who you authentically are.
What does that look like? So like I know like if we're I mean, this has happened to pretty much every person I've talked about who is on like a conscious spiritual self-development journey. It's like I lose my friends. How do you know if you have been in constant relationships that are like inauthentic, what an authentic relationship looks like? Like, how do you know what to look for?
I think it's more, how do you look for how you feel.
Mm,
how you feel when you're communicating with that person, how you feel when you're spending time with that person. Do you feel like you can always be in alignment with your authenticity when you're with them? Do you ever have to fake something? Like,
Mm-hmm.
look, we all compromise. Again, we're all human beings. It doesn't mean you and I aren't going to maybe have a disagreement one day, right? But and people who are in that tribe now where you can be fully accepted authentically, you may end up also veering off because people grow and change and they don't always grow and change the same way, which is fine
Yeah.
as you're both still like solid in your authentic self and liking that person and feeling like if you're not on the right path, if you're not out there with the right person. It's all somatic. You feel it,
Mm-hmm.
right? You feel the energy shift in your body when you get in their car or say goodnight, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. It is like, and I think that's something that just gets stronger, right? So like initially I sort of buck it like it's a feeling because I want to give like a concrete, like this is how you'll know, but it really is a feeling. And you just get better and better at recognizing what that feeling is once it's like, especially in comparison, right? To when it's not there and when it is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like when you watch these movies or something with teenagers, like are having their first sexual experience, and one girl says to the other girl, like, "Well, how am I going to know if I have some?" And the other girl's like, "Believe me, you'll
You'll
know."
know.
Right? I think it's the very same thing. Connecting with people when you're in alignment and you just know it's all easy, it's effortless, you never feel like you have to change yourself. I think we all watch the words that we speak because our words have power,
Yeah.
right? So I'm always going to be intentional with my words, whether I'm with like a soul sister or a stranger. I'm going to be the same intentional with my words. So it doesn't give you the freedom to just like be a bitch, be mean, or cry, right? You
Right.
be your best self.
Right. Which is in alignment, right? If you, like the example you were giving earlier about like, if I like lash out at somebody in anger, that's actually not in alignment with that's reactivity. That's not authenticity. Even though
Exactly.
I am experiencing anger, the
Exactly.
expression of it is not my authentic expression. Yeah. So we were intending to talk about like
Not
death
this.
by comparison. And I think we can squeeze in a few minutes of it if you still have time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it's been coming up a lot in my client sessions this week, this idea of like ranking and comparing ourselves and where this sort of comes from and reflecting on that with a client I was speaking to like just today, thinking about things that you were celebrated for as a child often become like later in life stressors as we try to keep up with doing these things at an exceptional level so that we can continue to receive love and praise in this way. And so like one example is like being, beautiful. If you were always the pretty little girl, then you want to be the pretty young woman and like you're just all the stress to keep up with this identity. Or if you were the really smart kid and you were celebrated for getting really good grades in school, then you want to like overachieve even into like adulthood and career life so that you can continue to get those same sorts of accolades and expressions of attention and love and well if what you're coding as love, right? And so really focusing in on like how intensely like caging these pieces of our identity can be is just been a really big theme of the week. And I know that you have a lot to say regarding like how we compare ourselves to other people and what that can really do to us internally.
Right. Well, life's not a competition.
But I
No,
want to win.
whenever we're comparing ourselves to other people, that's what we've turned our life into as a competition, right? And I think it all comes down, again, it's the same answer. It comes down to liking yourself, not just loving yourself
Mhm.
unconditionally, but really liking yourself, and they are kind of different things.
Yeah.
Uh, really liking yourself is means that you're okay, you know, being quarantining for a while
Hmm.
because you enjoy your own company. You don't need anybody else to validate you to feel good about yourself. And believe me, when we were all sheltering at home and like I wouldn't leave my house for a couple weeks at a time, living alone, if I questioned whether or not I liked my own company, I would have been miserable, right?
Right.
But
Hmm.
I was one of those people that kind of enjoyed it. It fed right into my pleasure spots, to be on my own. Um, okay, I kind of like went off on a tangent and lost my track of what I was going to say. So there's the difference between comparing yourself to other people,
Yeah.
which I really believe that once, if you are at the place where you like yourself unconditionally, you're not going to be comparing yourself because other people's successes, other people's clothes size, other people's bank accounts. They don't mean, you recognize, they mean nothing to you. You know,
Right.
I'm living the life I created that's in alignment with me and I love it here. So I don't really care what you make, you know?
And that is sort of a limit, like an unlimited resource. I think when we're talking about like in comparison, especially, it's like someone else's shine takes away from my shine. But when you stop this comparison, you realize like it is unlimited. You get to be in your fullest expression, and that doesn't diminish anyone else's, and no one else existing in their fullest expression takes away from you either. So I think you're just hitting it right on the head. It's like when you are fine with yourself, you
Right.
stop giving a shit about everyone else.
Right. And this goes back to what you were talking about before, or maybe what I was at the kernel, right, in the center. Sometimes when we're comparing ourselves to them, it's not to see how we size up to them.
Mm.
It, we're looking at really, well, how are they going to think I size up to them? What are they going to think about me if I'm not fitting into like the clothes they wear, and if I'm not fitting into the women at lunch, or
Mm.
right, if they're all Four Seasons and I'm a campsite, right? It's coming down to really what are they going to think about me?
And so we make decisions from other people's perspectives when we're living like this instead of in alignment with ourselves.
Yeah. And I'm sure you felt this also. Like when I finally figured this out and fully embraced it, it is the most expansive, freeing feeling that I've ever felt in my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Not doing things according to what somebody else is going to think about it or say about it or think about me because of it. It's like it's like the angel singing down, "Ah," because suddenly you can do anything that's in alignment with yourself and feel good about it. Like you feel so good about it.
Right. And it eliminates like this like stigma of success and failure. Because like if I don't give a shit what you think about me, then it doesn't matter if I like try this thing that is in alignment and I fall flat on my face. Because it
Right.
doesn't like I mean, I think at least I don't know. What's pinging to me right now and feels true is that failure is more hurts more because it's witnessed than like I actually let myself down sometimes. And it's like being publicly witnessed as a failure or like fucking something up feels like in my body right now more painful than me like fucking something up in private. So I think like when I shifted, at least from my point of view, when I shifted away from like I don't care what assessments they make about me and how they view me if I fuck up, I was able to like actually start doing things.
Right.
too.
For sure. The fear of what other people think hold us back from doing lives. I didn't do lives for like my first year in business,
Mm-hmm.
because I felt like I had to look, you know, makeup, no makeup, like none. As a matter of fact, like
Me either.
big heat rash going on.
Mm-hmm.
The dress, I had to be accessorized. I made myself crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And consequently, I really rarely did them. Now that I'm out from under that, you're like, want to go live now? I'm like, sure, let's do it. I don't give a second thought to that stuff because now I recognize that A, if I don't attract somebody to me because of that,
They're not my people.
people. Exactly. And B, I really want, I've already kind of said this, but I just really want other people to know that just the way you are is good, is great,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't need to be, you don't need to put on makeup,
Mm-hmm.
right? In order to connect or attract like energy.
That's
And
true.
I only want like energy in my days.
Yes. It is just, I mean, it's so liberating. And of course, like, again, with this caveat, the thoughts still present themselves, right? It's like, oh, what will they think? Oh,
Yeah.
what if? What if I fuck up? What if this? What if that? I mean, even, I found myself I was going to a wedding a few weeks ago, and I was like, as soon as I walked in, I did the scan, and I was like mentally calculating. I was like, where do I fall in line with all of these people that I don't know? And like the patterns pop up, the thoughts pop up, but it's not the thought that is like, that's the issue. It's how you respond to it, right? So you always have a choice to engage with these old thoughts and patterns of thinking and behavior in a different way, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think saying that too, it's like, it's not like the fear goes away, because it is scary being vulnerable and fully exposed and bucking what other people think. But it's also like you get to move through the fear. I think that's the muscle that gets exercised.
For sure. And you know what? There's something so fun about being at a wedding where you don't know anybody and maybe standing at the bar by yourself having a drink and just like surveying, not in a judgmental way at all, but enjoying like
Hmm.
they're having so much fun over there and look at them dance and feeling like so proud of yourself for being there and doing it on your own, even though it was intimidating, that you just sometimes I'm like, I'm so glad I'm here by myself because this feels so good
Mm-hmm.
to be handling it
Yeah.
as beautifully as I am, and enjoying my time here. Like sometimes would it have been nice to say, check that outfit out, don't they look adorable together or something? But I can say it to myself and still
Right.
get, you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah. I think, especially on this journey, like pausing to celebrate those small wins where you that the work is working when you are in a similar situation that you've been in before and you choose differently.
Yeah.
And it is just like a monumental moment that I
Yeah.
don't know if we spend enough time like actually pausing to celebrate, because those are just, I mean, it's a huge win.
Right. I was just going to say it's not a small win. Yeah. It's a huge win.
Yeah.
And next time when you walk into an event where you really don't know anybody, you can tap back into that feeling, right? Again, it's somatic. You can tap back into the feeling you had when you were already at the bar having a drink and enjoying yourself in that place,
Yep.
and then walk into the room, Yeah.
Coming home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes with you wherever you are. Yeah.
Everywhere you go, there you are.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
This was
About
wonderful,
knowing,
Beth. What?
isn't there something nice about knowing that when you're living in alignment with your authenticity, that you show up as the same person everywhere you go?
Yeah, I mean, well, in a sense, right? but it's also like that person I feel like is growing and evolving too. And like whatever, you know, like, right? Like I feel like I
Yeah,
am constantly like shifting into different aspects of me, but like at my core, yeah, like totally. Like I don't need to pretend. I don't have like faces for different events anymore, you know? Like
right.
yeah.
Right. No faces for different events.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just easy.
Yeah.
I think Denzel Washington said he was like, if you never lie, you don't need to have a good memory. Because you don't have to keep stories straight or anything. You just get to be who the fuck you are. And
Right.
yeah.
Right. If you never put on a costume for one part of your life, you don't have to do the quick change, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
We
being me.
okay. Yeah.
What?
No, yours deserves repeating. You, you say
I said I love being me.
that. That's what we should end right there.
It took a long time to get there though, you know.
Yeah,
And it's a daily practice for sure.
absolutely.
Beth,
Yeah,
I love you so much.
I love you too. What I said was we could do this all day.
Yeah, we
We
could.
could get on here every day and do this, and yeah,
That's how we spend our mornings, just
it's
like unpacking the wonders of the world.
that's true. I could just hit the record on Zoom, and we'd have stuff for content for days.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
like reel off a podcast. We probably
yeah.
already have like hours and hours and hours. Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I was so excited when you asked me.
Yay. So
Yeah,
happy you could come. We could work it out and we'll have to do it again,
for,
obviously.
for
Sooner
sure.
rather than later.
Yeah. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you Monday
You
morning.
too. I know. Bye, babe.
All right. Love you.
Love ya.